It's the Black Falcon. What is going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of The Mask. It is I, Meds, and we are here to talk about the season finale or the final episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or should I say Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Let's just get straight into this. The episode is quite straightforward. Carly, the Flag Smashers, are in New York. Their plan is to kidnap all the delegates who are trying to put a bill through which will move all the people that essentially took up the space while the blip happened of 5 years. But now that everybody's back, they now kind of have to move them out. The Flag Smashers are like there to stop that from happening. So there's only two ways of evacuating the building. You can either be taken out by air, via helicopter, or you can be taken out via armored SUVs or armored trucks, essentially. And so the Flag Smashers have got inside men as the drivers and the pilot. So when they take out the delegates to evacuate them out of the building, they're going to literally kidnap them from there. And the plan is to use them as hostages. So they'll ransom them so that the bill gets scrapped. Once that happens, they'll return the hostages. But if the demands aren't met, then they are willing to kill them to send a message. As they're doing that, you find out that somehow Sharon is in New York. And so she's come to help. So Sam tells Bucky, Sharon, to go handle everything on the ground level. He's going to go up top to where the summit is being held and try and stop the whole evacuation process from happening. You find out some of the Flag Smashers are already in the building because they got inside men. I love the way Sam uses the shield. I love how he's made the shield like his own, because his fighting style and how he used the shield is very different to how Steve used the shield. I felt like with Steve, when he used the shield, because he was a super soldier and he had the strength behind it, Steve was just more accuracy. So he could literally just like throw it off a wall and it would rebound and hit the person and come back to him. But with Sam, he's more acrobatic, so he does like a lot of flips, twists and turns. So he'll be doing flips, and as he's flipping and turning, he'll throw the shield like mid-flip or like mid-twist to give it extra momentum. The action in this episode or in this whole series for a show, Disney, Marvel, they've raised the bar. So Sam is literally going, trying to get the hostages, and during that whole thing, there's like a really cool flight sequence where the guy who's flying the plane, he decides like to lose Sam. He's going to like kind of make a distraction, so he goes and he finds another helicopter that's flying. He kind of flies past them, sets them off course. So what ends up happening is Sam has to kind of deviate to go rescue those pilots. And he uses Red Wing to rescue one pilot while Sam rescues the second. They rescue them and he lands them like on the bridge. But then you see the helicopter is literally going to fall and hit the bridge and hit them in the process. And what Sam does is he kind of uses his wings and the shield to make like a metal dome. And just the way it just looked so amazing because the helicopter hits Sam, the shield, the wings, and then just glides off and then goes into the water. And then Sam is just back in the air. And this is the best Sam has ever moved. This is the best he's ever looked. Looking at how Sam was moving in this episode, Falcon, aka Captain America, is the guy. He basically uses Red Wing to scan the hostages in the helicopter. He discovers that, okay, there's somebody there that can fly the plane. Cool. What they're going to do now, he's going to get rid of the pilot and have the person that has flight training to take over the controls. So he hacks their phone, sends them a message, tells them to put in like their earphones, which they do. He basically breaks down the plan. On a count of 5, I'm going to get rid of him, and then you take the control stick. They do it. Plan goes perfectly. We then switch back to the ground. Bucky's caught up to the RVs or the armored trucks. He's fighting all the flag smashers. Carly's there as well. But then John Walker shows up with his Home Depot shield that he made like in his backyard or in his garage, whatever. But where they're fighting is kind of like a construction site kind of area. And there's a sequence where one of the flag smashers hits Bucky and like he kind of falls off. John is up on like the street level, getting just jumped. 4 or 5 super soldiers versus him. And he's on his own for what he is, but again, it's 5 super soldiers. And then like they start to just dent his shield, because again, his shield is just made out of metal, it's not made out of vibranium. So the shield's all getting dented, he's on the ground, they're just stomping him out. But, you know, he was able to rally, and during the whole fight, like he sees Carly, and that just sets him off. He knocks out all these other people, or the rest of the flag smashers. Him and Carly have like their little fight. And Carly realizes that she can't actually beat him. So her plan now is just like to use like a distraction. And so what she then does is she basically drives one of the armored trucks. And like her plan is like to kind of drop it off into the construction ditch. And so John has a choice. He can either go after her or save the people. And so in the end, he picks to save the people. He even drops his shield. He's trying to pull the truck back. That's when like the other flag smashers come to try and fight him so that the truck can fall. And he loses grip of it. It's about to fall. Then Sam shows up and he's holding the truck up by the front of it, and he's using his boosters to try and push it up. Then he basically like deattaches like 2 extra boosters from his wings. He attaches it onto the truck. He pushes the truck back onto safety. And as that's happening, everyone's kind of gathered around, and they all have their phones out. And like there's two black people, 2 black men in particular that stand out. Because one older of the men, looking like Uncle Ben's fried rice. You know what Uncle Ben looked like. Yeah, he's just like, oh, it's the Black Falcon. And I was like, the Black Falcon. As if Falcon hasn't been out here for all these years. Why is it be called the Black Falcon? Anyway, but then the other guy corrects like, nah, that's Captain America. And I was like, my God. It was definitely a cheesy moment. It just felt so cheese. So Carly's running, and then she's like in a building, and then somehow, boom, Sharon shows up, pointing a gun at her. They start talking, and guess what? Just like I told you guys 2 episodes back when I said Sharon is the power broker, Sharon shoots George St. Pierre. Pierre shoots Sharon. When Sam comes in, it looks like Carly had shot them both. And so her and Sam get into a little fight. But again, Sam doesn't even want to fight her. He literally doesn't want to fight her. So like she's fighting him, but he's doing all the dodging and stuff and just trying to talk to her essentially. But you know, she doesn't want to talk. She just wants to fight. And it's more of a clash of ideals. Because even when she sees him, she was like, how could you, out of all people, become Captain America when you know the hypocrisy? And Sam's thing is like, again, I get what you're saying, but I want to make a change. And the only way we can make a change is if we take action. And I'm trying to take action, but the right way. So they're having like their little fight. She refuses to stop, and Sam refuses to fight her. And it gets to a point where she basically takes the shield off him, and she's got a gun pointed at Sam. And then Sharon shoots her twice, and then she dies. Sam has like a conversation like with a lot of the quote unquote members of the board that were gonna put the bill through, and he kind of gives them like a heartwarmed speech about why and how we have to do better. and how they shouldn't just move everybody from these places that they moved to during the blip. And they have to find a better solution. But at the same time, it's not going to be easy, but we shouldn't look for the easy way out. It's only by doing the hard work and doing what's necessary and what's needed that real change can happen. And he also ties it, that's the reason why he chose to become Captain America. And then from there, you kind of have like everybody's little like tie-up moments. Bucky goes to give the man whose son he killed as the Winter Soldier closure by telling him what happened to his son. Sam goes to see Isaiah. They speak, Isaiah commends him for what he did, and he says like, you're special, like you're different. Like you're up there with people of Malcolm, of Martin, those who wanted to make change and those who actually made change. He says you're not as great as them, and Sam's honored simply by that. And he takes Isaiah and his grandson to Avengers Memorial. And in that memorial, you basically see that one of the sections is Isaiah's section, and it tells his story. And Isaiah was, like all emotional as he should be, because they took away his whole story. They took away his everything about him. He was erased from the history books when he played an integral part. So I like that moment. I like that moment. Yeah, and that was literally it. The super soldiers or the flag smashers who were meant to be going or meant to be taken by the raft or to the raft, they end up getting killed on the way there. So Zemo's butler, aka Alfred, planted a bomb in their transport truck and just blows it up. And yeah, so Zemo's in the raft. He gets the news. He's happy, like, yo, I got all the super soldiers I wanted to kill. So great stuff. In the post-credit scene, Sharon Carter is reinstated. She's no longer an enemy of the state after Civil War. So Sam kept his promise, and now she has also been offered like a job in her old position, and that's where she's now going to go work. So as a power broker, she's now got inside information in terms of government contracts and like experimental government technology. So that was pretty much it. That was like the episode as a whole. For me, I would say that I had mixed feelings towards the episode, but I'll give the episode a 7 out of 10. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think to round everything up, it did okay. But personally, after watching that episode, when I watched like the scenes with Isaiah and Sam, for me, I thought that's what the show should have been from the very beginning. I thought like the show should have focused on both Sam and Bucky, but how they're trying to basically maneuver in this new point in life. I thought like it should have been a story of identity and how do you define yourself based off how the world sees you. And I felt like it should have been a case of where Sam should have always been, in a sense, Captain America from the beginning, but not embracing the role or having trouble coming to terms with being Captain America. So even in everything that he's done, he's always been scrutinized. And I felt like Bucky, on the other hand, should be him trying to find his place in a world where he's haunted by all his demons, and like that should be the focus. The whole season should have been that Sam should have realized that there was a black Captain America, maybe by episode 2. And it should have been a case of where it should have been Sam and Isaiah's relationship throughout the whole season. And it should be really about two mindsets and two generations. Isaiah's generation of where you can fight for this country, you can bleed for this country, but this country still don't love you, so there's no point in doing that. And then Sam's perspective, where he's basically saying that we can't change the past, but at the same time, we have to look to the future. Like, we have to believe things are going to be better. And I felt like, but that should have been the path which the show was going down, where you're seeing Sam's journey in him trying to find a balance of Captain America and what that means, and whether or not he should carry on being Captain America. But that's my personal opinion anyway. I feel like that would have been a much more fitting story. A good episode. It wasn't the best one. It did what it had to do. And I am really excited to see what happens next. But yeah, that was it for me. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Go off in the comments. Tell me what you thought of the season finale and the show in general. Like always, thank you so much. Please watch, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.